The rain in Seattle was relentless, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. Barnaby, a 43-year-old architect, had always prided myself on my ability to design structures that were both beautiful and strong, foundations that could withstand any pressure. I thought my life, my marriage to Meredith, was one of those structures. Solid, unshakable. I was wrong. We'd been together for 15 years, married for 12. Meredith was a vibrant, ambitious lawyer, driven and intelligent, everything I admired. We had a comfortable life in a beautiful house overlooking Puget Sound, a golden retriever named Gus, and a shared love for hiking in the Cascade Mountains. Lately, though, something had felt off. Meredith was working longer hours, constantly on her phone and less present. I chalked it up to the pressures of her job, the long hours she poured into her cases. I was a fool. It started subtly. A lingering perfume that wasn't hers, a new designer handbag I hadn't seen before, a defensiveness when I asked about her day. I'm not a confrontational person. I usually avoid fights. I tried to talk to her about my feelings, about how distant she seemed, but she always brushed it off. "You're imagining things, Barnaby. I'm just stressed," she'd say, her eyes avoiding mine. The real crack in the facade appeared one Tuesday morning. Meredith had left for work early, claiming a crucial meeting downtown. After she left, I went to her study to borrow her stapler. The computer was still on and an email was open. It was a Gmail account I didn't recognize, the name Seabird78. Curiosity, a feeling I now recognize as a premonition, overwhelmed me. I read the email. It was addressed to Meredith. The sender's name was Quentin. The message was short, but the implications were devastating. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again on Friday." Same time, same place, my world tilted. The words swam before my eyes. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, the air completely knocked out of me. Meredith, my Meredith, cheating on me. I sank into her chair, the email burning a hole in my brain. Quentin. Who the hell was Quentin? I spent the rest of the day in a daze, unable to concentrate on my work. I called in sick, the first time in years. I replayed the email over and over in my head, each time the pain sharper, more real. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe her email had been hacked, but deep down I knew the truth. The cold, hard truth. That evening Meredith came home, her usual bright smile plastered on her face. "How was your day, honey?" she asked, kissing me on the cheek. The scent of her perfume, the same unfamiliar one, made me want to retch. "Fine," I managed to say, my voice flat. I couldn't bring myself to confront her, not yet. I needed more information. I needed to know the extent of the betrayal. I decided to play detective. I started by discreetly checking our credit card statements. I found several charges at a fancy Italian restaurant downtown, a place Meredith and I had never been to. The dates coincided with evenings she claimed to be working late. The evidence was piling up, each piece a nail in the coffin of our marriage. Then came the real breakthrough. One evening, while Meredith was at a conference, I decided to check her phone. I know it was a violation of her privacy, but I was desperate. I waited until she was asleep, her breathing deep and even. I carefully unlocked her phone, my hands shaking. I went straight to her messages. There it was, a string of messages with Quentin, explicit, passionate, and utterly heartbreaking. They talked about their dates, their feelings, their plans for the future, plans that didn't include me. I read through them all, each message a fresh wound. I learned that Quentin was a colleague of hers, a senior partner at her law firm. He was married too. The betrayal was even deeper than I imagined. I spent the rest of the night wide awake, staring at the ceiling, the messages replaying in my head. I felt a cocktail of emotions: anger, sadness, disbelief, and a profound sense of loss. The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, was a stranger. Our life together, the life I had built with such care, was a lie. The next morning I confronted her. I couldn't hold it in any longer. I waited for her to finish her coffee, her face bright and oblivious. "Meredith, we need to talk," I said, my voice trembling. She looked at me, a flicker of apprehension in her eyes. "About what?" "About Quentin," I said, the name hanging in the air between us. Her face paled. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. I don't know what you're talking about," she stammered, her eyes darting around the room. I pulled out her phone and tossed it onto the table. "These messages say otherwise," I said, my voice cold and hard. She picked up the phone, her hands shaking. She scrolled through the messages, her face a mask of guilt and shame. "Barnaby, I can explain," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Explain what, Meredith? Explain how you could betray me like this. Explain how you could lie to my face for months." I asked, my voice rising. "I don't want your explanations, I want the truth." She started to cry, the tears streaming down her face. "It just happened," she sobbed. "I didn't mean for it to happen, it was a mistake. A mistake. This wasn't a mistake, Meredith. This was a calculated, deliberate act of betrayal," I said, my voice shaking with anger. "You cheated on me, you lied to me, you destroyed our marriage." She continued to cry, begging for forgiveness. She said she loved me, that she didn't want to lose me, but the words were empty, meaningless. The trust was broken, shattered beyond repair. "I want you to leave," I said, my voice flat. "I want you out of this house. I want a divorce." She looked at me, her eyes filled with despair. "Barnaby, please don't do this. We can work through this. I promise I'll never see him again." "It's too late, Meredith," I said, turning away. "It's over." She left that day, taking a suitcase full of clothes and a lifetime of memories. The house felt empty, hollow. Gus, sensing my sadness, stayed by my side, his warm body a small comfort in the vast emptiness. The divorce was messy and painful. There were lawyers, arguments, and accusations. Meredith tried to salvage the situation, begging me to reconsider. But I was adamant. I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't forget the betrayal. As I dug deeper, I discovered that Quentin wasn't just having an affair with Meredith. He was using her position at the law firm to funnel money to offshore accounts. He was involved in shady deals and illegal activities. I decided to expose him. I gathered all the evidence I could find and anonymously sent it to the authorities and to Quentin's wife, Rosalie. I knew it was a risky move, but I couldn't let him get away with it. The fallout was swift and devastating. Quentin was arrested, his career and reputation in ruins. Meredith was implicated in the scandal, her career hanging by a thread. Rosalie filed for divorce, taking Quentin for everything he had. Seeing Quentin's downfall brought me a small measure of satisfaction. But it didn't erase the pain. It didn't bring back the trust. It didn't heal the wounds. In the aftermath, I focused on rebuilding my life. I threw myself into my work, designing new buildings, creating new spaces. I spent time with friends and family, reconnecting with the people who mattered most. I started hiking again, finding solace in the beauty of the mountains. One day, I received a call from Rosalie, Quentin's ex-wife. She thanked me for exposing Quentin, for saving her from a life of lies and deceit. We talked for hours, sharing our stories, our pain, our hopes for the future. We started meeting for coffee, then for dinner. We found comfort in each other's company, a shared understanding of betrayal and loss. Slowly, tentatively, a connection began to form. Rosalie was kind, intelligent, and funny. She had a warmth and a strength that I admired. We shared a love for art, music, and good food. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. One evening, as we were walking along the waterfront, I stopped and looked at her. The lights of the city reflected in her eyes, making them sparkle. "Rosalie," I said, my voice soft. I think I'm falling in love with you." She smiled, her eyes filled with tears. "I think I'm falling in love with you too, Barnaby," she said. We kissed, the kiss tentative but full of promise. It was a new beginning, a chance to rebuild, to love again. Meredith, on the other hand, faced the consequences of her actions. She lost her job, her reputation tarnished by the scandal. She tried to reach out to me, begging for forgiveness, but I couldn't bring myself to speak to her. The pain was still too raw, the betrayal too deep. I heard through mutual friends that she was struggling, alone and isolated. Part of me felt sorry for her, but another part of me knew that she had brought it all on herself. Life is strange, isn't it? It can throw you curveballs, knock you down, and leave you feeling like you'll never recover. But it can also offer unexpected blessings, new beginnings, and the chance to find love again. I learned a lot from my experience with Meredith. I learned that trust is fragile, that betrayal can come from the most unexpected places, and that forgiveness is a difficult but necessary path to healing. I also learned that it's possible to find love again, even after the most devastating heartbreak. I am now married to Rosalie. We live in the same house overlooking Puget Sound, Gus happily running around the yard. We've built a new life together, a life based on honesty, trust, and mutual respect. I am grateful for every day I have with her. Sometimes I think about Meredith. I wonder if she ever regrets her actions, if she ever thinks about the life we had together. I don't hate her, but I can't forgive her. The scars of her betrayal will always be there, a reminder of the pain I endured. But I refuse to let that pain define me. I choose to focus on the present, on the love I have with Rosalie, on the beautiful life we've created together. I am Barnaby, the architect, and I have rebuilt my foundation. This time it's stronger than ever. This is my story of betrayal, loss, and ultimately redemption. It's a story about finding strength in the face of adversity, about learning to forgive if not forget, and about the possibility of finding love again, even after the most devastating heartbreak. I hope my story offers you some comfort, some hope, and some inspiration. Remember, even in the darkest of times, there is always light at the end of the tunnel.